Well, howdy there again, intermediate PSO peeps. This video is going to be about the B flat major scale. Actually, I'm going to put out 4 videos today. This one that will talk about scales in general, and then one for each of your instruments, the violin, the viola, and the cello. So I'll be playing the scale and you can play it along with me, just like we would if we were actually having our orchestra and working on this at the beginning. Now, when we talk about keys in music, we're talking about the scale or the tonality that the scale is based on. For example, if we're playing the G major scale, it simply means that it is based on the note G. G is what we call the tonic. That's the name for the key. And we're going to start on the note G and play A, B, C, D, E, F, G again, but using the appropriate flats and sharps to do so. If it's a D major scale, we start on the note D. If it's an E flat major scale, we start on E flat. This is a B flat major scale. So B flat is the tonic in the scale. Also, when we play scales, we notice that there's a pattern. Whenever you start a scale, you're going to start on one of the strings, one of your 4 strings. And the string that you start on will have exactly the same finger pattern as the next string above it. Those 2 strings, whatever you start on, will have the same finger pattern. But you might start the scale on, let's say, the 2nd or the 3rd finger instead of the open string. So you have 2 notes below that on that string, and that will be the same pattern as the next string above. The same is true for the next string, next highest string, if you have one on the scale. That will have a different finger pattern than the first 2 strings, but the string after that, if you have one, will have exactly the same finger pattern as the 2nd string. I hope that makes sense to you. So sometimes we don't so much look at notes and think, oh, that's low, that's a low 2, that's a low 1. What we're doing is we're looking at the notes just like we would when we learn them, but we're learning finger patterns on the strings. And that's what the scales can do for you. What you're really trying to do when you look at a scale is you can see a run of music that goes, let's say, down or up, and you will notice that, they're just a string of notes. You're playing one after the other. Your brain isn't reading all those notes. It's just following a finger pattern. Sort of like if you were typing a word or reading, because you don't look at every letter when you're reading. You look at every word when you're reading. Sometimes you look at whole sentences when you're reading, and you don't really look at individual words. You see a sign that you've seen often, and you know every word on the sign, but you didn't actually do any more than just look at the sign and know what it said. And that's sort of how, if you get good at it, if you practice a lot, reading music can be, but also the keys, if you practice your scales, can help you play passages. You don't have to read all those individual notes. You just have to see whether they're going up and down and follow your next finger, next string, whatever the pattern is that you learned. That's the cool thing about it. Okay, so we're going to start at this point. I'm going to do an individual video for each of the instruments, starting with the violin and then the viola and then the cello, playing the scale that you have the music for, and then you can play along with me. But the challenge, of course, is for you to play the scale and learn it very well so that you don't have to think about the next note, don't have to think whether you're playing a low 1 or a low 2. The notes are just going to be in your fingers. That's the goal of the scale, and you need to practice all your scales so that they all are like that. It will help you read the music so much easier than just figuring everything out as you play it for the first time. Now, I'd like to make a little announcement. You may have noticed in the last few rehearsals I've sometimes had to leave suddenly. Last summer, I was This has been going on for a while, but I finally took some tests and I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. I have stage 4 prostate cancer. What that means is that the cancer is in everywhere in my prostate gland. Also, there's some cancer in my lymph nodes, some other things that are close to the prostate. So the treatment that they do these days is they give you a hormone shot. And the hormone shot puts cancer in remission. So I've had 2 hormone shots so far. So there's no cancer that's growing that's going to, be a problem. But the shots kind of have some side effects. They leave me pretty tired. I've gained some weight. I can't seem to lose. I don't have enough energy to exercise to get rid of it. And I generally don't feel very well most of the time. I go in spurts. I have times that I don't even want to practice because I'm just too tired. But I will get through this. The second thing, though, now is that I have started radiation therapy. I've just completed the 3rd week. Generally, I really don't feel good. I am pushing through, just making it through each day. It takes a lot of energy. It drains my ambition. And I'm having a lot of side effects in my digestive system and basically uncomfortable. It isn't super serious. I'm dealing with it, and my doctor is confident that I'm going to be just fine, but I am going through some stuff. I haven't even told all my family yet, but all of my family knows now. There's one of my stepchildren I haven't told directly, but everybody knows. But that's up till yesterday. So I haven't said anything to you yet. I know some of you know already because I'm not really keeping it a big secret, but I don't want to make it into a big deal either. So I want you to know I don't need anything. So I'm doing just fine. I have lots of support, and I will keep making the videos. But please understand if they don't come every day or something that I may just not feel so well that day. Anyway, I love all of you, and I want you to watch the next video that will be sent that applies to your instrument so we can play together. And I will talk to you soon, okay?